Chapter 1: The Overprotected Boy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Diagon Alley. A young wizard in black robes scanned the bustling street, then glanced at the twilight sky and sighed. It had been 11 years since he arrived in this magical world. 11 years. From birth onward, his worldview, values, and whole outlook on life had shifted. Only now was he truly starting to accept this reality, and how had he spent those 11 years? "Boss, it's time to head back." A carefully spoken warning came from behind Aaron. A well-dressed middle-aged man. After a few seconds of no reaction, the man took a breath, about to speak when Aaron cut him off. "Can't I stay a few more minutes? Just a little longer." "But your parents. Didn't they say I had free reign until 6? Aaron asked, exasperated. "Besides, what are you supposed to call me outside?" "Boss," the middle-aged man replied, looking embarrassed. "Right, jeans." Aaron nodded, satisfied. "How much did the shop pull in today?" "Almost 8 galleons, Jeans said, sounding even more awkward. 8 galleons wasn't bad, enough to buy a basic wand, but the number seemed almost shameful to the family's butler. He couldn't fathom why Aaron would leave behind the family's vast fortune to run a struggling drink shop in this alley, but he couldn't disobey. His job was simple: keep Aaron safe and get him home on time. The rest wasn't his concern. "Not bad," Aaron said casually, unconcerned with the amount. Jingle bell, star. The alarm on the counter went off. Aaron shot a look at Jeans, who was subtly gesturing toward home, and resignedly started walking toward him. "I can't run it by myself, you know." "Of course, everyone knows you could, but rules are rules. It's what your parents want." "Yeah, right." Aaron said with a sarcastic chuckle, but didn't elaborate. He grabbed a handful of flu powder, stepped into the fireplace, clearly said, "Gaia's castle," and tossed the powder. Green flames erupted, then died down quickly. In a flash, Aaron was gone. Back home, Jeans nodded approvingly. He reached for his wand, then smiled and stopped himself. Half a minute later, he repeated Aaron's steps. Once they were gone, 2 figures materialized from the wall of Aaron's shop. They exchanged smiles and started brewing tea, looking like they barely knew each other. "When will this end?" the one on the left asked, looking dejected. "Who knows? Soon, hopefully. The boss is ridiculously talented. He's 11 now. Time for Hogwarts." "True, but I'm more concerned about switching shifts in 2 days. Gaia's castle, every day at 6 p.m. sharp." A house elf waited by the fireplace. Today was no different. Boom, star. The fireplace flared. "Get ready. Young master's coming home," the elf muttered. As soon as Aaron appeared, the house elf zapped him with a cleaning charm, instantly removing the soot from his clothes. "Thanks, Joby." "It is an honor to serve you, master," Joby squeaked, thrilled. Jeans emerged next, and Joby repeated the spell. Jeans just nodded, acting like it was his due, even if cleaning was part of the job description of a house elf. "Are my parents back yet?" Aaron asked, annoyed. "No, master," Joby said nervously. "They care about you a lot, even if they're away often," Jeans added. "We've watched you grow up. You're the luckiest kid in the world." "Cut it out, Jeans. Whether you were watching me grow up or watching me, you know the difference. I'm 11, not 3. Stop trying to pull the wool over my eyes," Aaron said, rolling his eyes. From day one, someone had followed him everywhere, euphemistically called protection. The Jeans family had served the Gaius family for generations. Jeans was the most trusted person to Aaron and his parents. The only one who got to stick to Aaron like glue and protect him openly. As for the others, unseen. He had never caught them. Still, he was sure there were at least 2, and they were pros. Jeans's face twisted in a grimace. "I guess we haven't been able to fool you since you were a baby. As for surveillance, you're imagining things. Any other wizarding family would be overjoyed to have this level of protection for their heir. But Aaron insisted on calling it surveillance, an invasion of privacy. He had protested to his parents countless times. Each time, they'd admit their mistakes with guilt and sincerity. The next day, it'd be business as usual. Eventually, everyone, even Jeans, became numb to it, but he could never let his guard down. As butler and bodyguard, he just had to deny it and act dense, because Aaron had no proof. The day he could truly ditch the secret protectors would mean he could stand on his own. Gaius and his wife wouldn't be mad. They'd be ecstatic. They might even throw a party to celebrate. Whatever, Aaron scoffed, unimpressed. Did they say when they'd be back? No. But soon. Jeans answered weakly. Don't even bother. You said that 2 weeks ago. They're probably busy with something important. Jeans insisted. You know they always are. Aaron rolled his eyes again. Done talking. His parents sent letters every so often, always from different and exotic locations. It didn't seem like a busy person's lifestyle. It felt more like traveling the world. Some parents, leaving their son at home while they were off having the time of their lives. Jeans knew what Aaron was thinking. Dinner's almost ready. Anything special you want? Just have Joby bring it to my room, Aaron said, heading upstairs. Jeans sighed and turned to the house elf. Joby snapped to attention. I'll prepare Master's dinner immediately. No need. It's already done. Just take it to his room later. Yes, sir, Joby said solemnly and walked towards the kitchen. Aaron flopped on his bed and opened the personal dashboard that only he could see. Host, Aaron Gaius. Magic, 700, novice magician. Talent, once in a century, magic increases by 2 points / day. Improvement rate decreases with age. Item, none. Magic points, 1001. Looking at the bare dashboard, Aaron sighed. He had only gotten the system at 9, and he was stoked at first. With a system, navigating this magical world would be a breeze, but then he learned the specifics. No starter pack, a basic panel, and a system store. Magic points were useful. They could boost his magic or buy rare items. The downside was how slowly they accumulated. He could sign in once a day, but it only worked in magical locations. Signing in at home gave him 1 magic point. A measly 365 a year. Diagon Alley, on the other hand, gave him 2. That temptation of doubling his earnings made him open a drink shop and work hard every day. Honestly, his family wasn't hurting for money. The Gaius family in the magical world was on par with the sacred 28 families, maybe even better. As for the Muggle world, they were in the top 20 of the rich list. But what could he do? His family was strict, and most of the sign-in spots were dangerous. He was always followed. Even the shop in Diagon Alley had been won. After begging his parents several times. He'd been signing in for 2 years, and his magic points only recently broke 4 digits. Still, it was worth it. And today was the day he finally spent them. Chapter 2. You actually played me for 2 years. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron excitedly opened the system mall. The mall's interface was simple, with 3 rows of 5 squares each, categorized into magic, materials, and items. The quality of the goods varied. You could use a magic point to refresh 1 square, 1 row, or the entire selection, depending on your luck. When he first opened the mall, one of the magic items was a spell to bring the dead back to life. Aaron felt like he'd hit the jackpot, like Lady Luck was smiling on him and the Gaius family had finally caught a break. But after reading the fine print, he realized he'd gotten ahead of himself. The spell had 3 conditions. First, you had to be a great magician, meaning you needed over 10,000 magic points. Second, each use drained 20% of your magic power, forcing you to start over. Third, you could only resurrect someone who died within the last 20 years, and you needed some of their body tissue. He could live with the third condition, but the other 2 were a deal-breaker. According to the system's magician rankings, it went: Magician Apprentice, 1 to 100 magic power, Primary Magician, 100 to 500, Intermediate Magician, 500, 1000, Senior Magician, 1000 to 3000, Wizard, 3000 to 5000, Magician, 5000 to 10,000, Great Magician, 10,000 to 30,000, Holy Magician, 30,000 to 50,000, and the legendary god of magic, great magician. Or even a top-tier magician, sure, they probably existed, but they were super rare, and even a great magician might balk at the cost of this spell. With his measly 3-digit magic power, it would take him a decade or more to even learn it, and he didn't even have anyone to revive. So, what was the point? The spell also cost a whopping 30,000 magic points. It would take forever to save up for that. No way. So, the second he saw it, he used a magic point he'd earned that day to refresh the square, setting his sights on something else. Brain occlumency, price, 1,000 magic points, perfectly blocks external attempts to penetrate the mind. No one can access the host's memories. System, I'll take it, Aaron thought. Deducting 1,000 magic points. Congratulations, host, on learning brain occlumency. Magic points are low. Suddenly, the knowledge of brain occlumency flooded his mind, carving itself deep into his memory. He felt unstoppable. He was sure that even Dumbledore himself couldn't pry into his mind, at least not without his permission. Just as he was about to close the system, a familiar voice popped into his head again. Congratulations on making your first purchase in the system mall. For spending 1 magic point, you are rewarded with a bottle of the special potion, Drop of the Moon, which removes any negative spells. For spending 10 magic points, you are rewarded with a bottle of the special potion Resurrection Potion, which can revive any creature that dies within 1 hour. For spending 100 magic points, you are rewarded with the Wandless Casting Skill, for emergencies. For spending 1,000 magic points, you are rewarded with a magical egg that will hatch into a magical creature that is 100% loyal to the host and will become the host's most trustworthy companion. Aaron blinked, patting his cheek. Had he heard that right? Then he pulled a bottle of magenta potion, a bottle of emerald green potion, and a pet egg about a foot long and 8 inches wide from the system space. The eggshell was pure white with cloud-like patterns, giving off an aura of holiness and nobility. After a moment of stunned silence, he felt a surge of anger. What the heck? System, you've been messing with me for 2 years. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? First, the host didn't ask. Second, does it really matter if you got these rewards early or late? Aaron looked at the 2 bottles of potion. Maybe not. He didn't need a curse removed, and he didn't need to resurrect anyone. They were precious, sure, but useless to him right now. Wait a minute, an egg? System, if you'd told me earlier, I could have hatched this egg by now. I wouldn't be so lonely. You owe me. He complained. He had a comfortable life, but it was lonely, except for his parents and Jeans. Everyone treated him with deference because of his status. They had guests, but they were always caught up in complicated etiquette, putting on airs. Even when they brought kids his age, they'd only play for an afternoon, then he wouldn't see them again for months. He didn't have many friends. Before he turned 8, he spent time with his parents, but they'd become a couple and rarely visited anymore. That's partly why he'd opened a shop in Diagon Alley. It was lively. He could talk to customers as equals and hear interesting stories about the wizarding world. Host, you're being unreasonable. The system replied disdainfully. No, I'm not. Do you know what these past 2 years have been like? Then tell the system, what level of consumption is this magical animal egg rewarded at? 1,000, oh. See? Even if the system had told you earlier, you wouldn't have gotten the egg any sooner. You didn't miss out on anything, so, demanding compensation is unreasonable. Aaron, shoot, it kind of made sense. Knock. 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 A knock came at the door. Master, Joby has brought your dinner. Aaron quickly put the potions and the egg back into the system space, and said calmly, come in. It's unlocked. The house elf walked in nervously, followed by a floating tray. A piece of fruit, a steak, and a bowl of corn soup floated off the tray and onto Aaron's table. Okay, you can go. Yes, master. After Joby left, Aaron couldn't wait to take out the white egg, looking at it expectantly, ignoring the dinner. System, what kind of creature is this? How do I hatch it? Does the host need to spend a magic point for identification? Aaron thought about his one remaining point, lamenting, you really left me high and dry. Identify. Race, dragon. Incubation method, bask in the sun for at least 3 hours a day, and arrange the rest of the time freely. It will take about 7 days to hatch out of the shell. That's it. Tell me what kind of dragon it is and what its magic level is. The system paused. This dragon egg has no equivalent species in the current magic world. Before hatching, it is at the magician apprentice level. After hatching, it will be upgraded to a level and will evolve with the increase of the magic level. The combat effectiveness of each stage will be improved to varying degrees, and the size of the body can be freely controlled. Aaron was even more excited. This might be the only dragon of its kind in the world. Judging by the eggshell, it'd be beautiful. And being able to change size meant he could keep it with him. He wasn't worried about the Ministry of Magic investigating. The Gaius family's influence wasn't just for show. He could always claim it was just a particularly obedient pet. Not bad. I'm very pleased with this egg, Aaron said, hugging the dragon egg. Should I give it a name? He wasn't sure if it was male or female, what it would look like, what color it'd be, or if it'd be cute or powerful. Maybe he shouldn't rush it. He shook his head. What was 7 days? He could wait. Then, a ray of moonlight streamed through the window. He looked at the white dragon egg. System, would 8 hours of moonlight a day speed up the hatching process? Please host not to ask such idiotic questions. The system will feel that your IQ has been lowered. Yeah, well, I'm not that smart to begin with, Aaron grumbled, then gently placed the dragon egg in the moonlight. No sun right now, so this will have to do. Absorb some moonlight. He started eating dinner. He didn't notice the white dragon egg shake slightly in the moonlight. Chapter 3 Dragon Egg. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The alarm clock blared right on schedule at 6 the next morning. Aaron, still half asleep, snatched it up and hurled it at the wall. Crash. Silence. He went back to sleep, determined not to be disturbed, but the instant his eyes closed, he remembered the pet egg from yesterday and shot straight up in bed. His eyes snapped open, all traces of sleepiness gone. Where's the dragon egg? Where's my pet egg? Aaron muttered, astonished. He was sure he'd left it on his desk last night. How could it just vanish? His first thought was theft, but he quickly dismissed it. Not even the resurrected Dark Lord could easily break through Gaius Castle's defenses, and besides, he'd only gotten the egg last night. He was the only one who knew it existed, and even if a thief did get in, why would they bother with an 11-year-old's bedroom? Wouldn't it make more sense to rob the owner's suite or hit the vault? The conclusion was inescapable. He must be dreaming. Aaron chuckled and leaned back, but as he did, he felt something round next to his hand. Holy cow! Aaron stared at the dragon egg on his bed, then back at his desk. He tried to recall the events of the previous night and examined the egg closely. As if sensing its owner's scrutiny, the dragon egg seemed to straighten up, and the lines on its shell glowed brighter. Hey there, you little rascal. Can you hear me? A few seconds later, the dragon egg wiggled from side to side, then back and forth. Awesome! My dragon egg's doing something. Aaron was excited. He'd thought he'd have a pet in a week, but it looked like things were moving faster. Other people walk cats and dogs, and in the magic world, it's more owls and toads, so, walking a dragon egg before walking a dragon shouldn't be a problem. Still, until it hatched, he'd have to stick to walks around the house, or it would cause too much of a stir. Come on, little guy, let's go soak up some sun. You deserve the first rays of the morning. The dragon egg seemed happy too, practically leaping into Aaron's hand as the door swung open. Aaron, cradling the dragon egg, headed downstairs. The picture of cute and comical Jean stared at Aaron, stunned. When did the young master start waking up so early? Usually, he wasn't up before 7. Noticing the unfamiliar egg in Aaron's hand, Jean frowned slightly. Young master, may I have a look at that egg? I consider myself fairly knowledgeable, but I can't identify what kind it is. Would you indulge my curiosity? Nope, Aaron said flatly, clutching the dragon egg tighter. Jeans, I know you're concerned for my safety, but this egg won't hurt me. It's going to be my pet, my most treasured companion. Master, even if you say so, Aaron suddenly turned serious. Uncle Jeans, you've watched me grow up. I don't want to pull rank on you, understand? Understood, Jeans said with a wry smile. He was, after all, just a butler. He couldn't make decisions for the young master. But should I inform your parents about this? Ahem. I'm 11 years old. I don't need to report everything to them. Aaron waved his hand dismissively. If they knew their son was raising some unknown creature's egg, they'd probably drop their travel plans and rush back immediately. Still a little worried, Aaron added, Butler Jeans, that's an order. Yes, I understand. Jeans said, dropping the subject. After all, with Gaius and his wife away, Aaron was the highest authority in the castle. He could even access the treasury. As the butler, Jeans only knew some of the treasures locked away. The young master probably just found the egg in the treasury and was playing around. Aaron walked out of the castle's living room and into the yard. He was thrilled at first, but after 10 minutes or so, his arms began to ache. He was only 11, after all, and the dragon egg was surprisingly heavy. 2 minutes later, he tied the dragon egg to a ribbon and levitated it with a floating spell. From a distance, it looked like a white, oval balloon. I'm such a genius. Only I could come up with something this clever. It gets plenty of sunlight, reduces the weight, and strengthens our bond. Perfect. Aaron chuckled. Whether the little guy liked it or not wasn't important. After flying his kite for a full hour, Aaron reluctantly reeled it in and cradled it in his arms. Jeans, watching from nearby, saw the happy smile on the young master's face and couldn't help but feel touched. The young master hadn't been this happy in a long time, not since the master and his wife had left on their trip. After a moment's hesitation, Jeans spoke up, Master, it's 7 o'clock. Shall we head to Diagon Alley, or? I'm in a good mood today. Let's eat at home. An hour's delay at work isn't a big deal, Aaron said casually. He briefly considered taking the dragon egg to Diagon Alley but quickly discarded the idea. This little guy clearly wasn't the kind to sit still. If word got out that the owner of Aaron's beverage store was parading around with a dragon egg, all hell would break loose. The Ministry of Magic would probably come knocking. He wasn't worried about that, but he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. And what if someone tried to snatch the little guy? It was the egg of an unknown creature, its shell bearing an indescribable mystery. Plus, the potent vitality it radiated was rare among magical animals. All of that combined made it worth far more than a regular dragon egg, enough to drive desperate people to take risks. His secret defenses could handle it, but he'd still hate being protected by the surveillance he'd protested for so long. Okay. I'm going to work soon. You stay here in my room until I get back, okay? Don't go wandering off. The little guy protested immediately, shaking from side to side in Aaron's hands to express its displeasure. I don't want to leave you either. But there's no choice. You're too valuable. What if someone steals you? That the white dragon egg kept shaking. How could anyone leave an egg alone at home? What kind of owner was he? Work is a must. Don't worry, I'll be back before dark. After you hatch, I'll take you everywhere. Aaron promised earnestly. The dragon egg finally stopped shaking and turned slightly, puffing out its chest a little proudly. Watching the negotiation, Jeans couldn't help but chuckle. The next moment, a chill ran down his spine. Aaron was glaring at him with a sneer, and even the egg tilted slightly, staring at Jeans through its shell. Jeans swallowed hard. Right, Master. I'll get breakfast ready right away. Wait. Oh, Master, say no more. I understand completely, Jean said quickly. The dragon egg can't eat yet, of course. I'll have someone watch over it and find someone who specializes in taking care of eggs. I can take care of the little guy myself. No need to trouble anyone else. As for this egg training. Aaron glanced at the dragon egg and hesitated. I'll think about it. As soon as he said the words, the dragon egg squirmed in his arms. Ahem. Jeans, I take it back. No egg training necessary, thank you very much for the offer, but as you can see, the little guy's about to hatch. A few days of egg training would be pointless. Jeans. Chapter 4: A Letter of Admission. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron set the dragon egg on the bed to soak up the sun. Smart little thing would just roll into the sun if it shifted anyway. Master, we should head out. You're already an hour behind schedule. Relax, I'm the boss, not a temp worker. I decide when I go, Aaron said, a little testy. Then why go at all today? You seem to be enjoying yourself, young master. Compared to happiness, galleons are nothing, Jean said, and he meant it. Can't do that. A boss has to check on things. I don't want to be as irresponsible as Dad when I take over the family business. Jeans rubbed his nose, annoyed. This kind of backtalk wasn't something a mere butler could normally get away with. A few minutes later, they were at the fireplace, flow powder in hand. With a flash of green flames, they arrived at Aaron's drink shop in Diagon Alley. System, daily sign-in. Signed in at Diagon Alley. 2 magic points awarded. Hearing the familiar chime, Aaron nodded, pleased, and threw himself into the day's work, learning simple spells, reading the paper, admiring the employees, and mentally calculating how to dock their pay. He was the boss, after all. In an age before the internet, this was his entertainment. Hours later, Aaron stretched and said, Jeans, I'm gonna head back and check on the little guy. Mind holding down the fort here? Instantly, Jeans was right beside Aaron. Wherever you go, young master, I go. Those were my orders before your parents left. Great, Aaron muttered, mouth twisting. He couldn't really argue. With his limited skills as an intermediate magician, he was no match for Gaius. This butler was at least a magician, if not a great one. Out here, he had to give Jean's face. He was Vico Gaius's bodyguard, after all, but back at the castle, he was in charge, and the butler had no say in what he did. Think I could try operating? Just once. Jeans hesitated. Master, boss, you're asking a lot. Me going alone? Fine. Me taking someone? Okay, maybe. But 100% safety? I can't guarantee it, just in case. I mean, just in case anything goes wrong. I can't explain that to your parents. Besides, you probably won't like apparition. Most wizards would rather take the broom, even though they know apparition is easier. Fine, boring, Aaron said, losing interest. Let's go back at 6 then. Otherwise, bouncing back and forth all day just wastes flow powder. Whatever makes you happy, Jean shrugged. For the next few days, Aaron repeated his routine, each day with a little more anticipation, because it meant the dragon egg was closer to hatching. On the 7th day, Aaron didn't even bother going to Diagon Alley for the sign-in bonus. He just stared at the white dragon egg, afraid of missing the moment the little guy hatched. Young master. A soft voice came from behind. Aaron turned to see the house elf shuffling over with a letter. Great day. Finally, Mom and Dad remembered they have a son. No, master. This letter is not from the master and madam. It's specifically for you. When will you read it? For me? Aaron asked, surprised, with a smile. That's weird. I wonder who else would send me a letter besides them. It wasn't that Aaron was unpopular. With no friends or family, he had relatives, but they'd send letters to Vico or Lysana Gaius directly, not their 11-year-old son. He had a few friends, but nothing serious enough for letter writing. Bring it here. Okay, master. Joby took a few steps and respectfully put the letter in Aaron's hand. London, Gaius Castle de Mar. Aaron Gaius. Straightforward enough, Aaron chuckled, flipping the envelope over. He froze when he saw the crest on the back, a shield-shaped emblem. dominated by a capital H, with a lion, a snake, a badger, and an eagle in each corner. But even more important was the word above it, Hogwarts. "Joby, get Uncle Jeans, quick!" Aaron said excitedly, tearing open the envelope with trembling fingers. "Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, President of the International Confederation of Wizards, Order of Merlin, First Class, Grand Source, Chief Warlock of the Wizengamot, dear Mr. Gaius, that we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find enclosed a list of all necessary books and equipment. Term begins on September 1st. We await your owl by no later than July 31, yours sincerely, Albus Dumbledore, Headmaster." After reading the letter, word for word, Aaron smiled goofily, his laughter a little strange, not scary, just sad and sympathetic. "Master, you called?" Jeans appeared suddenly behind him. "Yes. Yes." Aaron, jolted, stood up and shoved the acceptance letter into Jeans's hands. "Take a look. What is this? A letter from Hogwarts?" Jeans raised an eyebrow. "Master, what are you thinking? Are we going, or not?" "Going, of course. Dad said, once I get my Hogwarts letter, you guys can't follow me around until I graduate. This is the dream." Jeans blinked, then gave an awkward smile. "Hogwarts headmaster is the most powerful white wizard around. I trust he can keep his students safe. But the best wizard in the world doesn't want us messing around, of course. My employer was hoping for Durmstrang, which only accepts purebloods. The teachers there are also great, and more importantly, the Gaius family could negotiate with the school to make sure you have someone looking out for you." "What? Someone looking out for me?" Aaron's eyes widened. "No. I'm not going to Durmstrang. Not even if you beat me to death." "Hogwarts." "Yes. I'm going to Hogwarts. I want my freedom. No one can stop me." Jeans's eyes twitched. Asterisk, what do you mean, not even if you beat me to death? Asterisk, he thought. Of course, the final decision is yours, young master. Hogwarts it is. But, this is big, and I need to talk to your parents. Aaron was quiet for a moment, then said, okay. But I'm not changing my mind, but hurry. It's already July 24th. If they're off having fun halfway around the world, and don't get back in time, they won't see their precious son for half a year. Of course, I'll write a letter right now, Jean said with a smile. He glanced at the dragon egg on the table, feeling the faint magical energy, the vitality, the strange sacredness coming from within. Master, it's time to let your parents know about the dragon egg. Okay, Aaron agreed. If he wanted to take care of the little guy openly, he needed his parents' help. At the very least, he'd need a plausible permission slip. Joby. Yes, master. The house elf straightened up. What do you need? What about the owl that delivered the letter? I want to send a reply. Yopi will bring him now. The house elf scurried outside and returned followed by a grey owl half his size. Aaron tore a piece of paper from the table and wrote, "It is an honor to be accepted. I will arrive on September 1, sincerely, Aaron Gaius." Too simple? Jeans asked. It was one of the shortest letters he'd ever seen. It's fine. Aaron waved a hand, sealing the paper in the envelope. First, I'm 11. I'm a kid. I don't have fancy writing skills. Second, all Hogwarts wants is a reply. They won't treat anyone special for being a good writer, or hold it against them if they're not. If I wrote a long, fancy letter, they wouldn't have time to read it, or they'd think I had someone write it for me. Jeans thought for a moment. That made sense. But he still subtly flicked his wand and replaced the envelope with a higher quality one. Chapter 5 Naughty and Cute Baby Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As dusk settled, Aaron's gaze at the dragon egg grew intense, then, a sliver of moonlight pierced the clouds and shone through the window, landing directly on the egg. Suddenly, a tiny crack appeared, a soft, white light seeped out, illuminating Aaron's face. The holy, gentle light brought Aaron a sense of profound calm, even suppressing his excitement at witnessing the hatchling's emergence. But deep down, his curiosity only grew stronger. This miraculous birth alone put it in a league of its own. The cracks widened slowly, and the glow intensified. Even the potted plants in the room seemed invigorated, blooming with renewed vigor. "What's this?" Jean sensed a strange, powerful magic emanating from Aaron's room. Though faint, its quality was extraordinary. Without hesitation, he hurried to Aaron's bedroom, throwing etiquette to the wind. If anything happened to the young master, he'd be held accountable, but as he opened the door, a wave of white light washed over him, instantly calming his nerves. He felt his energy surge, and even his old aches and pains began to subside. "What's going on?" Jeans wondered, his eyes drawn to Aaron and the glowing dragon egg. Click, 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 a small, white claw emerged from the shattered shell. It wasn't sharp or threatening, but it tugged at Aaron's heartstrings, making his pulse quicken. Moments later, another identical claw appeared, waving clumsily and further breaking the remaining shell. A soft woo sound came from within, and then the egg burst open, revealing the newborn's form. No sharp teeth or claws. Its entire body, including its tiny hands and feet, was a flawless white. Two fluffy ears made you want to reach out and touch them. It had a white tail and small wings, white on the outside with a blue lining. After a few seconds, the little dragon opened its eyes, staring blankly at the young man before it with wide, soulful black eyes. Its gaze was soft and full of wonder, as if trying to imprint his face on its memory. Aaron felt the same way, though a storm raged within him. He'd seen dragons like this before, holy dragons, mounts of the legendary holy dragon knights, and now, one was his pet. Talk about a lucky break. The little dragon smiled at Aaron, melting his heart. He reached out and gently stroked its head. It nuzzled into his hand, rubbed its head against his palm, then shuffled over to the broken eggshell and began to eat. After swallowing the last fragment, it burped contentedly, curled up in Aaron's hand, and closed its eyes. "Master," Jean said softly. "Shoo." Aaron gestured for silence. He wasn't surprised to see Jean's. He knew he'd rushed in, worried. He couldn't blame him. Aaron carefully placed the dragon on the bed, then stepped out to the doorway. "Whatever you need to discuss can wait until tomorrow. Don't disturb the little guy's rest, understand?" "Understood, understood," Jeans replied, his eyes wide with awe and concern for the sleeping creature. He had assumed it was a rare breed or a mutated dragon egg. Uncommon, but not unheard of. But what he had just witnessed defied everything he knew. The energy released during its hatching had invigorated the surrounding life, even benefiting him, and this was just after its birth. If it grew up, its potential could surpass even that of a phoenix. Most importantly, it had chosen the young master as its own. From now on, Aaron would be the most valued friend of the next head of the Gaius family, and Jeans would serve him faithfully. As Jeans left Aaron's bedroom, he was already planning the perfect menu for the young dragon's first meal. Locking the door, Aaron lay quietly on his bed. "System, can you pull up the little guy's stats?" "Initial viewing costs 1 magic point," the system replied, its voice emotionless but radiating a penny-pinching vibe. "Aaron. Seriously? Are you kidding me? Do you know how hard I have to work to get a single magic point from signing in? 1 or 2 points. Do you have the heart to rob a guy like me? Exercise patience, ****. Aaron felt like he'd been stabbed in the heart, but for the dragon's sake, he calmed himself and reluctantly spent a magic point. Name, XXX, species, dragon, holy, magic, 100, increases daily, although the potential is limitless. Currently, it's extremely weak. Innate ability, flying. Wow. 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 Could you be any less helpful? Aaron sighed, convinced that today's sign-in had been a waste. Did he really need a stat sheet to tell him that? It was obvious. This system is not being unhelpful. This is the accurate information about this young dragon. Fine. Then tell me about its evolution path. It can evolve upon reaching the magic power of a high-level magician, magister, or holy magician. However, due to the current world's conditions, this evolution will manifest as growth, but it will be able to control its body shape and appearance. Each evolution represents a major leap. Besides increased strength, speed, and defense, a natural ability will be awakened. Additionally, you can use magic points to increase its magic power. Aaron exhaled in relief, satisfied with the growth path. Gently tucking the dragon under the covers, he closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. The next morning, the alarm clock blared. Aaron instinctively reached to throw it, but realized he couldn't touch it. The sound of shattering still rang out. Confused, he opened his eyes to see what had happened. The little dragon's right foot was planted squarely on the alarm clock. Ahem, thought the dragon froze, quickly retracting its leg, hiding the mangled alarm clock behind its back, and acting like nothing had happened. Aaron couldn't help but laugh. Even though the alarm clock isn't as big as you, I can still see it from here. The dragon put on a crestfallen expression, picked up the broken clock, flapped its wings, and flew to Aaron, twitching its ears as if admitting its guilt. Aaron smiled, stroking its head. Just this once. Don't do it again. He pointed his index finger at the clock and whispered, restore as before. The shattered alarm clock repaired itself and returned to the nightstand. That was the power of magic. Though technology might eventually eclipse the role of magicians, magic's usefulness could never be denied. If you wanted to fix an alarm clock, ordinary people had to spend time, money, and effort. A magician just needed a spell. Let's go. I'll give you a tour of our home. It's a lot different than it was when you were in an egg. Our house is pretty big, so you should try to remember it so you don't get lost. The dragon seemed thrilled. It circled Aaron several times and landed in his arms. Maybe it considered this its original home. No way. I could hold you when you were an egg, but now you've hatched and you're a baby dragon. When you don't need to fly, you need to walk and run on your own, Aaron said, reluctantly setting it on the floor. Then, he proceeded to show it around the Gaia's castle. The castle had stood for 1,000 years, evolving and perfectly integrating the characteristics of each era. They visited the bedroom, kitchen, living room, swimming pool, potion room, storage room, and even the treasure room. The dragon followed Aaron closely, its eyes wide with curiosity. After more than an hour, the pair had barely toured the main landmarks. They were both exhausted. Master, Jeans called out, looking at the dragon hesitantly. What's up, Uncle Jeans? Spit it out. I still need to take the little guy to dinner. The dragon perked up at the word eat, its innocent eyes shining. That's what I wanted to talk about, Jeans chuckled wryly. Your breakfast is ready, but I honestly don't know what to feed this new species of dragon. So. The dragon's eyes dimmed, and it looked dejected. It was clear that baby was unhappy. So, I'll prepare one of everything. The dragon lit up, chattering its thanks to Jeans. Aaron mentally gave Jeans a gold star. Talk about a butler. He had thought of everything. Chapter 6. This dragon is really not picky about food. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In front of the long dining table, Aaron gazed at the hundreds of plates and felt a pang of inexplicable sadness. Jeans had clearly gone all out for this breakfast, featuring everything that flies, swims, and walks. There were also fruits, vegetables, drinks, and even snacks galore, enough to feed an army. The thing was, Aaron had never experienced anything like this before. This was practically a royal feast for the little guy's first meal. He, the owner, was living worse than his pet. Where was the justice? Uncle Jeans, isn't this a bit much? Aaron asked, a little disgruntled. Jeans paused, catching the sour note in Aaron's tone. He chuckled, I know what you're thinking, but this pet of yours is truly extraordinary. There's never been a dragon like it, ever. To care for it properly, we need to figure out its eating habits. Imagine trying to guess what it eats after school starts. This breakfast spread is both a welcome party and a simple survey. We've included all common food types, and special investigators are recording everything. They'll give us a full analysis before noon. so raising it will be much easier for you. Aaron glanced at the two people behind Jeans and nodded silently. Go on, little guy. This is about your future recipes. You get one shot, so make it count. With that, Aaron placed the dragon on the table and let it explore. Jeans raised an eyebrow slightly. Master, now that it's born, shouldn't we give it a name? We can't keep calling it little guy. I've been thinking about it, but I'm drawing a blank, Aaron said awkwardly. In the movie, the dragon's name is Hub, but he obviously can't use that here, especially as a new student at Hogwarts. The headmaster's name is Albus Dumbledore. Imagine if his dragon's name was Albus, a teacher would probably pull him aside on day one. Hearing this, Jean straightened up and declared confidently, Master, how about Miko? Miko? Aaron mused. The name sounded okay, and it was what Jeans wanted. Most importantly, Aaron didn't have any ideas. Anything was better than little guy. That name is. Before Aaron could finish, the little guy flew over, shook its head, and glared at Jeans. Still up for debate? Yeah, definitely still up for debate, Aaron said diplomatically. Okay, Jeans said with a hint of disappointment. It was a good name, but the little guy clearly didn't like it. The dragon grabbed Aaron's hand and placed it on its head, its dragon eyes crinkling into crescents. Aaron understood immediately. You want me to name you? That the little guy nodded and gave Jeans a slightly arrogant look. Jeans, so, it wasn't the name, but who was giving it? Still, it was a good sign. The bond between the young dragon and the young master was even stronger than he'd thought. After a few seconds, Aaron said, How about Abe? Master, isn't that a bit understated? Jeans asked. The little guy, however, seemed thrilled. It zipped around Aaron several times before landing back on the table, clearly happy with its new name. Uncle Jeans, what did you say? Aaron asked teasingly. Nothing. I didn't say anything. Master, you must have misheard me. Now named, the dragon was ecstatic. It landed on the table, puffed out its chest, and strutted toward the nearest plate. The Gaius family chefs were top-notch, and every dish was delicious. Abe didn't want to miss anything, but his belly was so small. He sniffed some dishes and moved on, while others got a quick lick or a nibble. Only a few truly excited him. He pointed to several investigators and gestured wildly with his eyes. Half an hour later, Jeans's efforts paid off. They had a good idea of the little guy's preferences. The investigators exchanged glances and hesitantly handed over their reports. After reading through it, Aaron smiled. Abe's going to be easier to raise than I thought. Jeans nodded. It seemed they wouldn't have to stress about meal prep in the future. Every food category had at least one checkmark, meaning Abe wasn't a picky eater. 2 checkmarks meant he liked biscuits, fruits, and chocolates. The 3 checkmark items, like chicken legs and milk, were his favorites. Aaron scooped up Abe, who had gained a few pounds, and held the report in front of him. Anything wrong here? If not, we'll use this to decide your meals from now on. Abe whined a few times, then nodded contentedly. Aaron was relieved. Abe was smart. If he wasn't complaining, the report must be accurate. But Jeans hesitated. Abe's a dragon, after all. He wouldn't eat people, right? A chill ran down his spine. Aaron and Abe were staring at him, looking displeased with his doubt. Ha! Just kidding, Abe looks like a sweetheart. Of course he wouldn't eat people. Over the next few days, Aaron went to Diagon Alley every morning to sign in, and Abe came along. Abe could drink milk, tea or juice, whatever he wanted, but there was one rule. He couldn't leave the store owner's room. Aaron hadn't received his official dragon walking license yet. He wouldn't dare take him out in public until he was sure there was no risk. The only reason Abe could leave Gaius Castle was that he wore a blue dress to cover his wings and a white hat to cover his ears. A dragon with unlimited potential, disguised as a cute kitten. Back in his room, Aaron lay in his rocking chair with his eyes closed, browsing the system store. Magic at Transmigration, 1,000 magic points, including Animagus. At water-breathing charm, 100 magic points, can breathe underwater. At levitation charm, 10 magic points, at Patronus Charm, 200 magic points, at Apparition, 800 magic points. Materials at Phoenix Feather, 30 magic points, at Dragon Blood, 20 magic points, at Mandrake, 5 magic points, at Bezoar, 1 magic point, at Rhino Horn, 3 magic points. Items at Magic Carpet, 200 magic points, 10 feet long, 6 feet wide, at Magic Crystal, 100 magic points, powerful magic source for powering magic circles, at Invigoration Potion, 500 magic points, at Invisibility Potion, 100 magic points, makes you invisible for 3 hours, at Collector's Quaffle, 30 magic points, priceless for Quidditch fans. Ugh. Aaron sighed. What he wanted was too expensive. He couldn't afford it. He had to buy something else he could afford. It's useless, it looks like he's going to continue collecting magic points. The bells on the wall rang. Abe happily hopped over to Aaron. He knew this was the signal to go home, and it also meant dinner was about to start. As a newborn baby dragon, he took his meals seriously. Stop daydreaming, let's go home, Aaron said, picking up Abe and heading for the fireplace. Master, after you, Jean said, gesturing politely. I know. Not like this is the first time. You don't need to remind me. Aaron rolled his eyes, then grabbed a handful of fleur powder. As green flames erupted, Jeans breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't follow them back to the castle this time, but operated away. Chapter 7. Cute pets have to meet their parents after all. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron and Abe popped out of the fireplace, Joby's magic instantly cleaning their clothes, but this time, Jeans wasn't with them, which was unusual. Joby, anything happening at the house? Where's Jeans? Aaron asked. He was used to Jeans being like glue, her absence was strange. Could there be something more important than guarding him? Joby isn't sure, but Master Jeans seemed happy. Oh, he mentioned something about going to the airport. Airport? Aaron murmured, then his face lit up. He hugged Abe excitedly. The Gaiuses are coming home. We can finally go out and play without hiding. But, Aaron continued, we have to keep your identity on the down low. We're still too weak, and you're a rare treasure. If some crazy dark wizard tries to snatch you, we can't protect you. Abe had jumped for joy at the first part, his wings almost bursting his clothes, but the second part deflated him. He reluctantly tucked his wings back in, the smile still there, but not as bright. Dinner was a feast, making Abe's mouth water. There were chicken legs, his favorite, and a fruit platter. Since he was born, he had been eating with Aaron. The food wasn't bad, but it never quite hit the spot. Jean had put him on a strict diet, saying it was for the dragon's own good. He wasn't allowed to indulge, even if he was drooling, which he thought was dragon abuse. After experiencing the Manchuhan banquet of dragonhood, who could be satisfied with a few simple dishes? After a moment, Abe nervously reached out a paw, but Aaron pulled him back. Hold your horses. Everyone isn't here yet. Be patient. Ugh. Abe looked wronged, but his usual cuteness didn't work. Aaron said seriously, this is for your own good. My parents are sticklers for the rules. We can be more casual later, but since we're welcoming them home, we need to be polite. You don't want to make a bad first impression as a troublemaker. Abe was stunned, then quietly sat in his pet seat next to Aaron, staring at the food, drooling again. Aaron saw this and quietly placed a small cup under his chin. Holy dragon saliva. Could be some rare material. After all, this was a magical world, and magical creatures were walking treasure chests. Blood, scales, bones, venom, even hair, all valuable and useful. A few minutes later, 3 figures suddenly appeared at the dining table. This was Apparition, a teleportation spell, but Abe didn't know that yet. One was Jeans, standing respectfully behind the other two. The other two were Aaron's parents, Vico and Lisanna Gaius. I knew our precious boy would be waiting for us, Lisanna said happily, rushing over to give Aaron a big hug. Vico did the same, though he was less dramatic. Is it because I ditched school that you finally came back? Aaron joked, "Sometimes I wonder if I'm adopted." "Don't be silly. You're our priority, no matter how busy we are, we always love you," Vico said confidently. He knew his son felt a little neglected, but it was just playful banter. Aaron had always been mature for his age, and with Jeans looking after him, they felt comfortable pursuing their long-held dream of traveling the world. Of course, it wasn't just sightseeing. They occasionally dealt with magical issues, but Aaron didn't know that. "Really?" "Of course, it's true," Lysana said. "We brought you gifts." She pulled out an hourglass. It had 2 white bases, 3 white pillars, and a gourd shape made of 2 teardrop-shaped glass bulbs connected, filled with ordinary yellow sand. Aaron examined it, finding nothing special. He looked at Vico, hoping for an explanation. Can we skip this?" Vico hesitated. Aaron smiled. "Dad, I love it. I don't have one of these in my room, but it's a gift from you, full of family love. I just need to know which roadside stall you got it from." "Did you guess?" Vico said sheepishly. "Is that even a question? I'm not blind." Aaron rolled his eyes. "You could find this thing at any flea market for next to nothing." "Okay, so it's just a regular hourglass, but the sand is special. Your mother and I collected it under the pyramids during our trip to Egypt." Aaron, it was hard to believe he'd said that with a straight face, but either way, it was still a cheap souvenir. "Forget it, let's eat. Someone's getting hungry." "Someone?" The Gaiuses looked around, confused. They didn't see Aaron's pet. "Where is he?" Jean's letters raved about Abe. "Where did you hide him?" Lysana asked, eager to see her son's pet dragon. "Ma'am, there," Jean said, pointing to a small white blob next to Aaron. Lysana looked, feeling a mix of amazement and embarrassment. She had seen it, but this incredibly cute pet seemed to be asleep and still as a stone. Glistening drool hung from its mouth, and the drips made her think it was just some kind of weird timer. "Can you wake him up?" Vico asked softly, intrigued by this new breed of dragon. "Sure." Aaron gently flicked Abe's head, and Abe opened his eyes. Dazed, big, black eyes stared at the 2 strangers at the table. These must be the owners. The Gaiuses' hearts melted at the sight of the adorable dragon. It was the cutest creature they'd ever seen, making even a unicorn cub seem bland. "Son, can I pet him?" Lysana asked. "Sure, but Abe really likes chicken legs," Aaron said meaningfully. Glancing at the table, Lysana understood instantly and gave Aaron a knowing look. He wanted her to feed it. She loved feeding cute pets. She immediately pushed a plate of chicken legs in front of Abe. "Here you go. All for you. And fruit. Take it." Another plate was pushed towards Abe. Abe looked thrilled, but he still looked at Aaron for approval, though the drool on his chin showed he was impatient. "Oh, just go for it. But you do know what to do before you eat, right?" Abe nodded, spread his wings, and flew up. A few seconds later, he landed in Lysana's arms, letting her experience the joy of cuddling a dragon. Chapter 8. Today we learn about the family tradition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After they finished eating, Vico playfully patted Abe's round belly and exclaimed, "What a magical little guy. He sure is, no matter who owns him." Aaron said, beaming with pride as he gently took Abe back from Vico. Seeing his mother's adoring gaze, Aaron's lips twitched, but he didn't budge. He wasn't about to give him up. Abe had completely charmed the Gaius with his irresistible cuteness. "Son, you might not grasp the full significance of this. Publicizing his existence could bring you a level of fame that ordinary folks can only dream of. In the magical world, magical creatures are relatively rare, but they do exist. With enough opportunity or status, someone could stumble upon one, but your pet is truly one of a kind. His unveiling would create a sensation." Aaron looked down at Abe in his arms, then met Vico's gaze steadily. "I'm not interested, Dad. You know that." Vico simply shrugged, then glanced at Lysana with a smile. "Knew it. That's our boy. Lysana said, beaming. Jeans, hand him the paperwork. We didn't come all this way for nothing. Yes, ma'am. Jeans produced a document from a briefcase and gave it to Aaron. Master, this is an agreement your parents secured from some retired Magic Council elders and highly respected wizards on their way back. It verifies that Abe hatched from a dragon egg that's been in the Gaius family for millennia. It's your personal property. As long as you guarantee he'll obey your commands and won't harm others, you can raise him openly. Whoa. Aaron gasped, that was efficient. His parents had wrapped everything up before he even had a chance to speak. What about the Ministry of Magic? Don't worry about them. Every name on this agreement is someone the Ministry has to respect, their combined influence will keep them at bay. Aaron was touched. He wasn't sure how his parents had convinced these wizards, but it must have cost them a pretty penny. Vico saw the gears turning in his son's head and felt a surge of pride. Even at 11, Aaron was considering the cost-benefit ratio. Still, he was overthinking it a bit. The ancient wizarding families help each other. The Gaius family has always prioritized goodwill and avoided making enemies. They knew how to stay under the radar while maintaining a solid foundation and a strong network. The couple would visit, offer a small gift, and share a cup of tea. After all, Abe was harmless. They were just showing off, and there was nothing to lose, but doing this favor would make the Gaius family remember the kindness and return it in the future. It was an unspoken agreement. Hey, don't sweat it so much, you're the Gaius heir. Your mother and I see our role, until you're grown, as protecting you from the storm. Think of Abe as compensation for us leaving you alone for so long. Humph. Aaron scoffed, but with a smile. Alright, I'll let it slide. Lysana gave Vico a surprised look, rolling her eyes when she saw him flash an OK sign under the table. Coming from the Ollivander family, she knew what was up between the father and son. Her son had been played, but hey, she was also benefiting from this. The more guilty he felt, the harder he'd work, and the easier their lives would be. Win-win. By the way, Aaron. Vico suddenly remembered something. His expression turned serious. About going to Hogwarts, you should really think it over before you decide. No need to think. Aaron stated firmly. Give me liberty, or give me death, you station Jeans here. I don't know who else is around, but to you, it's protection, but to me, it feels like an invasion of privacy. When I'm older, I feel like I'm being followed all the time, except at home. It's annoying, so, don't even think about sending me to Durmstrang. At Hogwarts, I can experience freedom. You wouldn't understand this feeling if you've never been in that position. Vico fell silent. After a moment, he smiled wryly. Who says I haven't? Huh? Aaron's jaw dropped. A strange thought crossed his mind. No way. You too, Dad? Yep. Vico shrugged, looking defeated. Grandpa arranged it for me, not just me. Your grandpa was set up by your great-grandfather, and your great-grandfather by his great-grandfather. It's a Gaius family tradition, going back centuries, so, don't tell me I don't understand you. I understand you better than anyone. Actually, I should be thanking you. If you weren't so mature, your mother and I wouldn't have considered traveling the world. We always planned to start after you came of age or after you got married and had kids, but your performance has moved things up several years. Aaron's face twitched. Wait, so Grandpa didn't just disappear when I was 5, but... You guessed it. Your father here is kind of useless, so he was always worried. Plus, you came along, and he wanted to spoil his grandson, so he held off for a few years. He's probably feeding penguins in Antarctica right now. You won't see him anytime soon, but he'll definitely come back when you take over the family or get married. Great. Aaron sneered, resisting the urge to flip the table. What a load of bull. I'm protesting. Vico glanced at his wife and sighed. Protest denied. I tried. Grandpa shot me down. Once I had you, I understood the importance of this family rule. The protection is necessary before you're ready. Aaron realized now why his parents had started traveling when he was 8. He was speechless, it was true. They had finally gotten rid of their guardians, and then had to take care of him. 8 years was a long time. Aaron suddenly had a horrifying thought: he'd probably have to do the same thing one day. His heart sank. Lightning flashed, thunder roared, and blood rained in his mind. His arms tightened around Abe. Abe started clawing and squeaking. "So, according to our family tradition, when do we get to be truly free?" Vico smiled, his eyes softening. "That's easy. There are a few ways. The easiest is to defeat whoever's protecting you and prove you don't need them anymore. You're more talented than I was. You could probably manage it before you graduate." Aaron was about to ask about the second way, but he heard Vico's next sentence and looked at him with sympathy. "Dad, that's rough. You didn't beat them before graduation." Vico blinked, looking a bit embarrassed. Lysana chuckled. "What's the second way?" "The second way is to have kids. If you can raise a descendant who's even better than you, then congrats, you're free. It's a bit of a challenge, but it's for the bloodline, so you can't slack off." Aaron shuddered. "I'm only 11. Seriously? What else?" "The third way." Vico's face turned serious. "Graduate. You have to reach the magician level before you turn 18. Aaron, was there even a point in asking? Isn't that redundant? If I could do that, I'd have gained my freedom through the first method." "Not necessarily," Vico said, looking pointedly at Jeans. "Your Uncle Jeans here is a magician. According to the first rule, you have to beat at least one magician." "Crap," Lysana glared at her son. "Watch your language." Vico stepped forward and clapped his son on the shoulder. "Honestly, this family tradition is why nearly every Gaius is above the magician level. That's how we become such a powerful family. The downside is that after they complete their family trial, everyone just says, 'See ya,' and goes their own way. We're not exactly close. If your grandpa wasn't lying, your great-grandfather or even your great-great-grandfather might still be alive. But I have no clue where they are." Chapter 9: The Store Mascot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron lay on the bed, watching Abe sleep beside him, and shook his head, a wry smile on his face. "I finally get it, everything I didn't understand before tonight. Just took me a while to accept it. I thought it was just my parents being super in love. Turns out it's just a family thing. Of the 3 paths to freedom, the toughest for most is the easiest for him. Judging by how fast his magic was growing, hitting magister level before graduation shouldn't be a problem. At his current rate, adding daily magic points, he might even become a grand magister by then, but that was unlikely. The system's mall was overflowing with cool skills and magic items. Realistically, he'd probably only use 1/10 of his magic points on his actual magic energy. Plus, the whole family tradition thing was suspended while he was at school. Meaning, he just had to make it through this last month, and he'd be considered free. That's great news, so why did it feel so disappointing? Diagon Alley, Aaron's drink shop. Thanks to his dragon skating license, Aaron openly carried Abe around. Still, he put a coat on him to hide his wings and ears, just in case. Even then, the adorable white cat turned heads. Lots of female customers fell head over heels for the cute, smart creature and wanted to pet him. But Abe only granted those wishes when he felt like it, and when he felt like it depended on how you looked and what you bought. Basically, if you were good looking and spent money, you got to pet him. Otherwise, he couldn't be bothered. Thanks to their little mascot, sales jumped 50%, someone even offered Aaron 200 gold galleons for Abe, but Aaron immediately shut them down. 200 gold galleons was almost a month's profit for the shop, a fortune for an 11-year-old. But, they weren't hurting for cash. His allowance alone was way more than that. Besides, Abe was a holy dragon, the rarest of the rare. 200 galleons. Insulting. Boss, I know you can raise him openly now, but maybe don't put him on the counter the first day. Jean said, smiling wearily. He wasn't keen on showing off such a magical creature so casually. "Come on, Uncle Jeans, loosen up." Aaron grinned. "Before today, Abe was always stuck in my room. Now I can finally let him out. Why should he still be cooped up? What's the difference between that and putting him under house arrest?" Abe turned and flashed Jeans a cute little smile. Jeans was helpless against that kind of charm. His resolve instantly crumbled. It wasn't that he didn't want to be strict, but Abe was the Gaius family's darling. If he was even a little unhappy, both Aaron and his parents would be on Jeans's case. Okay, boss. Whatever makes you happy." Aaron nodded, satisfied, and gave Abe a thumbs up. Abe grinned back, his big eyes sparkling with cuteness. Time flew by, and a month passed. Aaron's life hadn't changed much, still going back and forth between home and Diagon Alley. But it was definitely better than before. With their son about to start school, the Gaiuses stayed home with him, which made Aaron feel like a family for the first time in ages, and Abe made his boring life way more fun. When he wasn't working at the shop, he was either studying or practicing simple spells with his dad, or just hanging out with Abe. Playing with a dragon was pretty awesome, and super rewarding. Right now, Aaron was on the bed, checking out his stats. Host, Aaron Gaius. Magic energy, 784, intermediate magician, your magical journey has just begun. Talent, rare in a century, can be improved, magic power increases by 2 points every day. Items, moon drops, resurrection potion. Magic points, 82, the numbers bummed him out a bit. He felt like he hadn't made as much progress this month as he should have. He missed those days with 4 figures in his magic points. Even though it was only for one day, it was his peak, looking back. "Boss, not a day to be sleeping in," Jeans called from outside. "Coming." Aaron shot up, his eyes bright. He grabbed Abe and started putting clothes on him, as Abe gave him a reluctant look. "Don't be sad. Today's August 28th, school starts in 3 days. We need to get your school stuff. If we wait too long, it'll be a madhouse." 10 minutes later, Aaron and Abe came out of the room. "Boss, you're half an hour late today." "Relax, you only get to boss me around for 3 more days." Jeans paused, then realized what Aaron meant. He chuckled. "Sounds like someone's feeling confident." "We'll see." "You will." Jeans shrugged. Honestly, while Aaron was magically talented, you didn't need to be a prodigy to become a magician before 18, still, no need to burst his bubble now. He'd learn how hard it was soon enough. "Where are my parents? Aren't they coming?" Aaron looked around, but didn't see his mom and dad. They had some important business to take care of. "Left last night. Besides, everything you need is in Diagon Alley. This is basically their backyard. You need a chaperone." Yeah, I know. But they didn't even say goodbye to their son. The nerve. After breakfast, they went to the fireplace. Green flames flared, and they arrived at the shop in Diagon Alley. "All clean," Jeans said, using a spell to tidy up their clothes. "Uncle Jeans, can I do the shopping alone?" Aaron asked hopefully. "Boss." Jeans frowned. "I know you can handle it, but you know the Gaius family tradition. We can't just do whatever we want, we have to keep you safe until you're on the Hogwarts Express." "Ugh." Aaron sighed. He knew that was coming, but it still sucked. Only 3 days left. "Can't you cut me, the future head of the family, a little slack?" Jeans shook his head, firm. "Because it's only 3 days, we can't let our guard down. Please respect our work for these past 11 years. If something goes wrong in the last 3 days, it'll be a stain on our record." Aaron's mouth twitched. Wow, that was cold. Basically, if he didn't let Jeans tag along, he'd be ruining their careers. "Fine, whatever. It's just school supplies." Aaron sighed, pulling out a piece of paper. On it was a list of what he needed: uniforms, textbooks, a wand, cauldrons, glass bottles, a telescope, and a brass balance that meant trips to Madame Malkin's robe shop, Flourish and Blot's bookstore, Ollivander's wand shop, Partridge's cauldron shop, Slug's apothecary. Chapter 10: The First and Second Magic Wands of Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Magic is supposed to be a gift, and as a wizard with a gift, Aaron's first priority was a wand. Every wizard, no matter their skill level, needed one. He'd been dreaming of getting a wand since he started learning charms, but his parents were dead set against it, saying a 7-year-old with a wand was a recipe for disaster. It wasn't like he hadn't considered sneaking one. They weren't exactly short on cash, but he knew better than anyone how closely he was guarded. Besides, because of who he was, Ollivander wouldn't sell him a wand without his mom's okay, and Ollivander's was the only wand shop in Diagon Alley. Sure, there were other places in the wizarding world that sold wands, but he'd never get away with anything under Jean's watchful eye. But today was the day he'd finally get his own wand. Whoa! Aaron took a deep breath, staring up at the shop sign, Ollivander's, makers of fine wands since 382 BC, he couldn't contain his excitement. Ahem. Jeans coughed softly. Master, you've been standing at the door for a couple of minutes now. Time to head in. Sorry, couldn't help myself, Aaron said, a little embarrassed, then pushed the door open and stepped inside. The wand shop was smaller than his drink shop. Well, maybe not small, but it was packed so full it felt cramped. Just inside the door was a desk and a bench. Then there were ladders and stairs. There were a few rooms leading off to the sides, but they were all blocked off, leaving only one corridor. The walls were lined with wooden boxes stacked to the ceiling. Each box held a wand, probably thousands of them in the whole shop. Looks like Mr. Ollivander isn't here. Should we wait a bit, master? Jean said, a hint of amusement in his voice. Wait? Why should I wait? If he's not here, I'll just have to try them out myself, Aaron said firmly. Oh really? I'll be sure to tell your mother, a soft, loving voice said from the stairs. An older man, gray-haired but full of energy, was looking at Aaron with a smile. Hey, uncle, good morning. Aaron said, sheepishly scratching his head. This was why he couldn't just buy a wand without his parents' permission. The owner of the shop was his mother's uncle. His mom still held some sway. If she told her uncle not to sell a wand to her son, Ollivander wouldn't do it. Good morning, Ollivander said, coming down the stairs. He ruffled Aaron's hair, messing it up. I saw you standing outside. Looks like getting your first wand has got you a little excited. Nah, it's just that the paint on your door is peeling. I was wondering if I should offer to pay to get it repainted. What kind of talk is that, kid? Peeling paint? That just means my shop has character, Ollivander said proudly. So. Uncle, you know why I'm here, right? I do. Your mother gave me your arm measurements a month ago. But I didn't even look at them. Some things need to be measured in person to be accurate, Ollivander said, pulling a silver tape measure from his pocket. Ready? You bet your bippy, uncle, Aaron said, wisely holding out his right arm. Then he remembered something and held out his left arm as well. How about measuring this one too? Ollivander frowned. Aren't you right-handed? A spare left hand for emergencies. What if my right hand gets hurt? Aaron said with a disarming grin. Actually, what would be really great is if you could set me up with 2 wands, no, 4. You know, just in case something happens to one of them. Huh? Ollivander looked at him in surprise, like he was seeing his great-nephew in a new light. After a moment, he looked at Jeans and said accusingly, is this what you're teaching him? You need to be pretty insecure to say something like that. Jeans smiled wryly and shook his head. You know the young master is quick-witted, and besides, do you think anyone born into the Gaius family is insecure? This is all his own doing, nothing to do with us. Aaron grinned. Uncle, I was just kidding. I know how much you value wands. A wizard having 4 wands is definitely overkill. Making jokes with your wand, are you? Ollivander shot Aaron a glare. Still, I'd like 2 wands, Aaron said, chuckling. I promise to take good care of them. But if something happens to me, I don't want to be caught short. Ollivander shook his head in disbelief. Alright, you just wait here. I'll go find a couple that might suit. Great. Thanks, Uncle. You're the best, Aaron said, beaming. He sat down in a chair at the desk, making himself right at home. A few minutes later, Ollivander came back carrying several boxes and set them on the desk. You know my rules. Even if you're my great-nephew, I can't break them. You get that, right? Of course. The wand chooses the wizard. Aaron said, knowing this from the moment he walked in. Good. I was worried you'd throw a fit and demand whichever one looks coolest, Ollivander said, still grumpy, and then opened the first box. Try this one first. Luncheon wood, with a unicorn hair core. Go ahead and give it a whirl. Aaron grabbed the wand excitedly and gave it a gentle wave. A flash of white light came from the tip, and he felt a warm current flow through him. It felt familiar and comfortable. Yep, this wand was a good fit. Not bad, Ollivander nodded, putting the wand back in the box. He opened another one. Now try this. Acacia wood, phoenix feather core. Aaron repeated the movement, his face looking a little strange. This time, a silver light flashed at the tip, and his fingertips felt a slight chill. But that wasn't the weirdest part. The weirdest part was that he could use this wand just as easily as the last one. Ollivander noticed this too, and his eyebrows shot up. He nervously put the second wand back in its box, and then reached for a third, but as soon as he opened it, Ollivander snapped the box shut again. Looking like he'd made a decision, he took out his own wand. Little Aaron, give this a try. Aaron swallowed, sensing his uncle was acting a little weird, almost like he was setting him up to fail. Sir, is this appropriate? Jeans asked, frowning. What do you know? Ollivander scoffed, then rolled his eyes. Fine, you give him your wand and let him try that. I refuse, Jeans said firmly. Humph. Ollivander didn't say anything, but stared at his great-nephew intensely. Just try it. Don't keep me waiting. What about me, Uncle? Can I refuse? Nope. Ollivander shoved the wand into Aaron's hand. Hurry up, I haven't got all day. Aaron reluctantly did as he was told, and a red light burst from the tip of the wand, casting dancing shadows on the wall. Is this? Jean stared in disbelief, his expression changing rapidly. Ha ha ha. Ollivander burst into laughter, looking at Aaron with excitement. The Ollivander family's principles haven't changed in hundreds of years, but today might be an exception. It seems every wand will choose you, even someone else's wand. That means you can use any wand you want. I'm betting it would even work with the Elder Wand. Aaron was stunned. He suddenly felt like the chosen one. Uncle, does that mean I can pick any wand in your shop? Absolutely. Sweet. Then get me 2 wands. One that's high-end and classy, and another that's low-key, luxurious, and meaningful. Most importantly, they have to look good, be elegant, and not hurt my street cred. Ollivander, Jeans.